Holy shit, guys. My name is Mike Brown. I just got done watching Crown Jewel. This is something that I know everybody has a lot of opinions, a lot of issues regarding Saudi Arabia, what happened there with the journalists, and whether or not WWE should be doing this show in the first place. Yeah, it sucks. And yeah, they probably shouldn't have done it. But look, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to pretend like I was going to boycott this show because of it. Yeah, I wanted to watch the show. I was interested in watching the show. So let's start with, first of all, the kickoff. We saw Nakamura defending the U.S. title against Rusev, which it's so weird to see Nakamura in the kickoff, in the pre-show. I don't really understand it. Technically, Rusev shouldn't be either, but I'm kind of used to it, and I'm not surprised with him. But it both sucks. I thought the match was good. I loved the finish. I just wish that we saw Nakamura more on SmackDown. I wish that they treated that U.S. title a little more seriously. But let's jump into the pay-per-view, the event. Hulk Hogan is back. We all knew this would happen. We all knew that it was inevitable. And here it is. Look how much money Saudi Arabia was able to throw just to make this show happen. And how many blasts from the past that we saw throughout this night. Yeah, it sucks what Hulk Hogan said. The racist stuff that he said. The use of the N-word. Yeah, it sucks. I'm not going to sit here and say that I hate the guy and that I think he should never, ever come back ever again. But it did feel weird. It did feel weird. I did see a lot of people online who crapped all over seeing Hogan back. Look, it was fine. It wasn't like he was there throughout the whole show in constant backstage segments. Like, it could have been worse. So, fine. They brought him out there. Who knows if we're going to see him on, like, a Raw or SmackDown. This could have been just for this event. He might just show up for the Saudi Arabia event. And if that's the case, who cares? This tournament, this World Cup tournament, I was interested really only because we never get one-night tournaments anymore. They do tournaments, and it's over the course of 2, 3, 4 weeks, and that's fine. It's something to follow week to week and get interested in. But I miss the days of when the King of the Ring used to be all in one night, where somebody had to wrestle and win 3 matches back-to-back, really kick their ass. And so that's why I was interested in this tournament. That's why I was interested to see who would win. Rey Mysterio got the surprise win over Randy Orton. Maybe a little too fast of a match, but I still thought it was good. I was surprised that Rey Mysterio got the win that he did. The Miz beating Jeff Hardy was really surprising. And when it looked like maybe they were doing it to build the Miz back up, because who knows, the Miz could still, in the next couple months, win the WWE title. It's very possible, and so it looked like that could have been what they're building him up for, but once you get to the end of the show, it's like, well, I guess that's not the case at all. So in retrospect, maybe Jeff Hardy should have advanced. He's a lot more popular. If you're going to have that ending that you had, what's the point in the first place? Seth Rollins beat Bobby Lashley, which I enjoyed. I was surprised as well, but Rollins probably should have gotten the win. Kurt Angle in his first singles match back in WWE. Losing to Dolph Ziggler was shocking. Absolutely shocking. I guess they just wanted Dolph to make it all the way to the end. Again, why? I don't know. Especially how you used him. It's not like... I actually enjoyed the fact that Dolph... look, I didn't love that he beat Kurt. I thought Kurt... I know he's older. I know he might not be as good as he once was, but I still thought he was pretty damn good. And I think Kurt had at least one more round in him. I think they could have given it to him. But if you wanted Dolph in that last spot, then I guess they felt like they had to do it. It was a big win for Dolph, and so that's why I'm saying I almost like the fact that Dolph was running the gambit and going through each match, and hey, maybe he'll win this whole thing. The SmackDown Tag Team Championships, the Bar with the Big Show. I do like that pairing, that trio. They defeated the New Day, so that was fine. Rey Mysterio loses to The Miz, and Dolph Ziggler beats Seth Rollins. All of this is with Drew McIntyre at ringside, so that was fine. AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. I was a little surprised that AJ kept the belt, but I'm not upset. Look, I would love to see Samoa Joe with the title. I almost wish that he did win, because how many times is this guy going to be put into a title match and then lose? This is a clean loss, phenomenal forearm. Look, either way, I would have been happy. I would have been satisfied, and AJ Styles keeping the belt. I kind of like the idea of AJ keeping this until WrestleMania. I want to see this guy main event at WrestleMania. He deserves it. I just don't know where Joe goes from here. The Universal title. What the fuck? This probably pissed me off more than the World Cup finals, and that's saying something. Seeing the fact that this belt is vacated, the fact that Roman Reigns, battling leukemia, had to give up this belt. This is what we do now. I'm not even saying I'm pissed that Brock Lesnar won it back. I'm not thrilled, but that's not what pisses me off. What pisses me off is that Baron Corbin came out, attacked Braun Strowman with the belt, and then so this whole match consisted of Brock Lesnar giving him 4 to 5. I lost count, honestly. I think it was 5 total F5s to pin Braun Strowman. Strowman didn't even do anything besides get beat up. They'll argue that they saved him, or that they protected Strowman because of Corbin attacking him. Look, it was one shot. Strowman could have been able to fight back, and they still could have had a competitive match. You could argue that Strowman wouldn't be 100%, but they still have a competitive match. They still make you think Strowman has a shot, but essentially he was disadvantaged. He would get screwed. The fact that the match only consists of Brock doing his suplexes, or I don't even know if he did suplexes. He just did F5 after F5, pin attempt after pin attempt. Bullshit. That's not what I want to see from my title match. We just followed an AJ Styles Samoa Joe great wrestling match that probably won't get appreciated because of the horrible booking through the rest of this show. And people are upset that Joe didn't win the belt, but people need to look at that match and look at how good technically it was. And then we get a Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, nothing match. How much are we paying Brock Lesnar to give us a match like that? It's old at this point. It was shocking when he did it to Cena. It was fun when he did it to certain other people, but man, am I sick of it. I am sick of it. If you're going to make Brock the champion, I don't want to see him disappear for 4 months. Yeah, he'll wrestle at Survivor Series against AJ Styles, which is fine. They wrestled last year, so it does seem like we're doing this again. But at least it was a good match, so I figure AJ Styles is going to get a good match out of Brock Lesnar. He'll make him bring it this time. But we can't do this again. We can't do this with Brock again, where we just don't have a real champion. We don't have real competitive title matches. Brock is a guy who used to be able to put on great wrestling matches in his first run, but ever since he went to UFC and came back, he pretends like he can't do it anymore, or doesn't care to do it anymore. He's getting paid more now to work less. And I know it's been the case. I know it's a dull point to complain about it now, but I can't help it. What I just saw on that screen is unacceptable. The finals of the World Cup, Dolph Ziggler supposed to fight The Miz. The Miz got injured. I for a second wondered if it was real. But once you see that, first of all, this was a tournament. How the hell can Shane McMahon just say, oh, I'm going to take his place? I could see if this tournament was strictly SmackDown related, it would still suck, but at least it would make sense in the rules why Baron Corbin doesn't have more of a say, why Corbin didn't even try to undo this. It's like, oh yeah, we'll let it happen. And they'll argue again, oh, Dolph wrestled twice beforehand, so he was softened up. It's not like Shane's beating Dolph straight up one-on-one, but it does not look good with this company that Shane McMahon in 2018 is beating a current guy who's on the roster every week, Dolph Ziggler, somebody who's notorious for having the perception of being held down. And this is what we do. Shane is, he's fun to watch. He does some crazy moves and he's death-defying. And I do love watching Shane wrestle. But this was not the way to use him. This is not what they should have done. They made a joke of this World Cup. You could argue it was a joke in the first place because the whole thing was filled with Americans for the most part. Sure, fine. But that still doesn't mean that they should half-ass the winner. They should half-ass the finals. They should make it seem like all of this was for naught. I guess we can talk about the DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. I wasn't keen on the idea of Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement for this match. I did want him to come out of retirement a couple years ago to fight like AJ Styles. And to see Shawn's performance in this tag match, it shows that he would have been fully capable of delivering a great performance against anyone. So sure, this match was good. I'll argue that it was better than the Triple H Undertaker match from Australia last month. It was good. The crowd was super hot and super into it. This is the most they were into a match all night long, which shows you where Saudi Arabia's interest is, that they only cared about guys from 20 years ago, and they couldn't give a shit less about the current roster at all. I can't deny how good Shawn Michaels was. It was very odd to see him bald. Yes, it didn't feel like Shawn Michaels really, or look like him. I always just kept thinking, who is that in the ring? But the performance, the in-ring moves, the nip-up that Shawn was still able to do, holy crap. This guy is great. Athletically, he can still go. Everyone else was passable as well. The match went on too long. It was, again, a half hour for these guys. I don't get why they give them so much time unless they're just demanding it themselves. I can say that if the rest of the pay-per-view was better, if the two main things I'm really upset about, the Universal title, if that didn't go down like that, if the finals of the tournament didn't go down like that, I would be a lot more appreciative of this tag match. I'd be a lot more forgiving of this pay-per-view. I would say that it was a good pay-per-view if that didn't happen. Those two things are my biggest gripes. The finals of the tournament made the rest of the tournament and every other match on the show seem unnecessary and seem pointless and seem like a waste of time if that's what they were going to do. Look, Shawn was great and there was some good wrestling on this card, but I'm very disappointed. I'm not going to pretend like I've seen other people say, oh, I'm going to cancel my network. Like, I've seen that so many times whenever something happens and people are pissed off about. I'm not going to pretend like I'm that mad. I'm going to keep the network, even if it's just to watch old WWF, WCW stuff. Like, I'm going to keep it for that alone. But as this show goes, yikes. Especially because they're following Evolution. And I feel like Evolution was a better pay-per-view than this was. Man, we need to do something about this booking. We need to do something about the way that they are treating the current talent, the current roster. Let me know in the comments below if you saw the Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel pay-per-view. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you boycott it because of the political issues? Like, comment, subscribe. Later.